Welcome to Buzzbooster TV.
I'm Shahar.
And I'm Nash.
You know, today we are going to talk a little bit about networking.
Networking,
Yes.
so important.
It is very important. And we have to understand that we have many options today to
Yes.
get in touch with people. Social
Yes.
media is a big thing,
Yes.
right? But nothing trumps face-to-face.
Nothing trumps kneecap to kneecap,
Yes.
belly to belly.
Yes, even if you have an online business, you know, you should consider also networking
Absolutely.
because it really, you get more benefits. There is a
Yes.
statistic that
Tell us.
tells that Americans are in the top social isolation from the whole history.
Wow.
Meaning that we spend so much time being connected with small devices and big devices that we are really getting isolated for real relationships. You know, you have to question yourself. If you break your leg, for example, and tell that on Facebook, you're going to get a lot of comments and hope you're well soon. But how many people will go to your home, help you walk your dog,
Yes.
for example?
How many people really care?
Yes. So it's important for us to be in moments where we can really talk business with other people.
Yes.
Well, you have many options to go out and network. Every single city has tons of
Tons of networking events.
entrepreneurial organizations,
Yes, women's organizations,
chambers of commerce.
chambers of commerce.
So there is no shortage of places
No.
for you to go. But you hear all the time that people go to those events and they don't get nothing out of it.
I've been there. It didn't do anything for
Yes.
me.
First of all, we have the tendency to judge our audience, and we look into an audience and we say, yes, they have money to buy from me.
And by
or
we
everybody.
mean everyone.
Yes.
It's human nature.
We shouldn't do that. We
Yes.
shouldn't judge people that if they
No.
have money or not, because have assurance that when somebody decides to work with you, despite their financial situation, they will figure out how to make that
Yes.
happen.
It's not up to you to make that decision before they do.
Yes. Second thing is consistency is key in success.
Yes.
Meaning that if you're doing something online like videos and everything, you need to keep doing.
Be
If-
consistent.
If you're going to a networking meeting, you need to keep going.
Be consistent.
The relationship will not start and give fruits on the same day from one time that you're there.
That's right. You gotta be consistent.
You gotta get people's trust, for example, before they do business with you.
Deepen that relationship. And you
Mm-hmm.
do that by being consistent.
So do you want me to repeat? Be consistent.
You gotta, one more thing.
Be
Before we
consistent.
forget, you gotta be consistent.
Yeah, so you have to keep going for a while.
Yes.
You know, the same way you cannot meet somebody and get married and have kids on the same day, you cannot get business results from networking by going just a couple times.
That's right.
Okay? Another important thing is a lot of these events, they happen during meal times,
Oh,
right?
yes.
It's very common that you go to these meetings and people are having lunch.
We're eating.
Yeah. There is one thing.
You cannot compete with the cheeseburger.
No, food is very sexy and very
Yes.
entertaining.
Yes.
So what really happens is
Tell
when
us.
you are in a networking event, everybody gets their food, and usually people have to stand up and do their
The
commercial,
30-second
the 30-second
commercial,
commercial.
whatever.
Well, you know, it's fantastic, but they are really paying attention to that. So you
this bacon is
need
tasty.
to figure ways really to
Get through that.
get more attention than the food is getting.
Yes. Which, at a first moment, is a lot more difficult than it seems.
Yes. One of the things that here's one trick for you. If you still have them looking when you stand up, make a movement. You know, the brain needs to follow movement.
It's part of our survival. We need to see if whatever is coming, if it's not a lion or something that will attack us.
Yes. So by doing a movement, you will grab their eyes at least for some seconds, and you only need 30 seconds, right? So you have more time. It's a simple thing, but it is effective.
Attract them
Yes.
to you with movement.
Another thing is that, you know, standing up and say, I'm John Smith and I do carpet cleaning, then really
Well,
nobody pays attention
We've
to
been
you.
in business for so many years. We have great customer service.
Yes, and we have amazing prices.
Yes.
That's a sure way never to get results.
Yes, this
Okay,
cheeseburger
first of
is
all-
even tastier now.
Yeah, even on a networking meeting, nobody really cares about you.
They don't.
care about themselves.
Themselves.
So do the exercise of start talking about them,
Yes.
what they get, and what they become by working with you.
It's about them. Make it about them.
The more you do that, the better it's going to be. So instead of saying, I'm John Smith and I am a carpet cleaner and I offer good prices with good customer service, you can start, with a little story. Say, imagine your house with the gorgeous green and clean carpet.
Yes.
Look at your kids, how everybody's happy. And if a mishap happens and they throw ice cream on the floor, no problem at all.
Yes.
Just give me a call.
That's right. Or you can paint the picture of this. This might be a little too negative, but you can talk about maybe a little baby who's walking and crawling on that dirty carpet.
And the germs and everything else.
Yeah. So paint that picture inside their heads, and you use them as the characters.
Exactly. So every single time that you can, actually every single time, you should be talking about them, what they get, or what they become by working with you.
That's right.
Do not focus on how great your business and the things you offer are,
No.
because really that's really irrelevant. They're always thinking,
Of course you're going to
what's
say
in
you're
it
great.
for me,
Yeah.
right? And what do I have to do? And you have to answer those questions in 30 seconds or less.
And I know we're talking about the 30 seconds, but this is true even on a belly-to-belly type of engagement there where you're talking to the person. The fact is that people like to talk, they like to hear their voice. And so what Shahar said earlier about lead with them, with their story, with that, it's the same thing, like let them talk.
Yes, when you have a chance, always listen
Yes.
and let them talk instead of you talking. But this is a
Yes.
topic for another one.
I digress.
You did digress. But it's important for you to understand that it's about them. And,
Yes.
we have been going to networking meetings for years.
Many years.
And, it's always the same thing, and it's very, very boring.
Yes.
And I have to say, I do pay attention to my food quite often. Because another carpet cleaner, another insurance, another coach, and they all say exactly the same thing. So be creative.
It's like, real estate agents.
Yeah.
If the market is still good out there, and it's a buyer's market, or whatever, it's
Yeah.
always the same thing.
Now, there's another thing that is very, very important.
What?
In business overall, but much more when you only have those 30 seconds to get attention from your market, is to tell stories.
Yes.
Stories are very compelling because the brain is wired for narrative.
We're wired for narrative.
We love stories,
Yes.
and we pay attention to them, which is our goal.
We grew up hearing stories.
Yeah, and you can use stories from what's going on in the market, in the news, something that is somewhat related to what you do.
Anything.
Give an example, because we are very, very famous for our 30-second
You're going to put
commercials.
me on the spot just
I'm
like
going,
that?
yes.
Well, no.
You love to do that to me, so why
Yeah,
not?
well,
Have a chance
the
here today.
tables have
She's really,
has
really
turned.
famous with the style of 30-second commercials she does in town, to the
Yeah.
point that sometimes she walks into the door and people shout the way she begins her story.
Stop hyping it up. But usually when I do it, it's always I use an animal. We like animals, we like wildlife photography, and so I usually connect it with some type of animal and what they do.
And an interesting fact about them,
Interesting
right?
fact. So one example that actually people always talk about. It was kind of a joke, and we don't usually do the jokes, right?
Which, by the way, is a good point, because it's kind of dangerous to
I think it's very
do your
dangerous.
commercials with jokes. But
Yes.
we'll talk about that later.
But the one commercial, and really, it doesn't matter what you're selling. Ultimately, if you find an interesting fact, it's just you just have to figure out how to connect it. But there was one in particular that was about the antelope.
Yes.
And I'd say, and one thing, we're always very loud. Like we're not obnoxiously loud, but loud, because you got to compete with the crunchy fries or whatever that they're eating inside their head, right? So just keep in mind, you have to call attention. So we'll go, I usually start with, did you know? And the moment I say that, everyone looks up at me. And so then I'll say that you're putting me on the spot, I don't even remember.
Antelope jumps high.
That some type of antelope, some kinds of antelope jump higher than the average house. And I'll say, that's due to their hind legs, and also the fact that the average house does not jump. So, and then I kind of pause a little and they'll laugh. But this is the joke. Usually we don't do the joke. But then I'll connect that to business. We'll say, well, if you need to,
jump higher than your competition.
Or something like that, talk to me. This was very bad because it's weekend.
In summarizing what she's saying is this: she leads with a normal beginning, that is the did you know?
A story.
Then she tells an interesting fact about an animal, just because she likes animal. It doesn't have to be that in your case.
No, it doesn't.
And then she ties that fact
to the
with
business.
a business thing. So a few weeks ago she did one.
we were having lunch at Red Lobster.
So why didn't you say this the first story? Like
Because the antelope one, everyone likes that one, but then it totally did
so
not.
you see, it's totally useless for us to script the show. It has just to happen.
Yes, well, that's just a mere suggestion, the script. Well, anyway, we were having lunch at Red Lobster, so naturally the animal of choice was...
A lobster.
A lobster.
Yes.
You may proceed.
Well, and then she said that lobsters are known for the fact that they eat each other.
It's true.
For whatever reason,
They'll
right?
eat each other.
Yeah, and the funny part about this is at that moment the waiter, he was putting the plates on the table and he went,
Yeah, like the server, the guy that worked there. He's like, yep, that's true.
Yeah, and then she tied that with, if you don't want to be eaten by your competition, and made the point of the business.
In that case, it was actually quite clever, I thought, if I may say so myself, but it was something like, if you find yourself in a pinch...
In a pinch, because of the lobsters.
Yeah, and then I connected it to the business.
Yes. So, of course, you may say, I don't understand anything about animals. That doesn't matter. The point is start with some type of story. And if it doesn't have some, a lot of people think, if I tell stories, it has to be about something happening in my life. No, it doesn't. Right? If you're a carpet cleaner and you want to talk about a baby going 10 meters will crawl upon that many germs, something you could find on Google.
However many germs or different types of species that are lodged inside the carpet.
Not during lunchtime though, but you see, you could do that.
Like that.
So you're leading with a story that people will stop to pay attention to. And what's even more important, that story will linger in their brain.
Yes.
So they will come talk to you later many times just because they like what you said in the story. We have actually a friend of ours that one day she said that the bee flaps the wings how many times? And he came to her and said, you got the number wrong.
Yeah, because if the bees actually flapped their wings that many times, there would be a mini tornado. Or something like some...
So it's a conversation starter.
Yes.
Okay?
It was true. I said the wrong number.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, because you know what? Actually, for the remainder of that lunch, they were thinking about me.
Yeah. To make good deals in business, you really have to start relationships. And this type of facts and stories, they are a conversation starter. And many times you find people that love animals, people that love photography, something else, but that will create what in psychology we call rapport.
That's right.
That connection, which is crucial if you want to be in business for a very long time.
Which you do, right?
Yes. So just a side note about jokes. We
jokes.
do also in network meetings many times see people stand up and tell a joke.
Yes.
There is one rule that professional speakers they tend to follow about the things that you never do on stage, and they are true to what you also shouldn't do when you're networking, because the moment you stand up and do your 30-second commercial, guess what? You are on stage.
Yes.
Okay? So, for example, avoiding politics, sex, and sports because these are controversial topics, but avoid jokes at the beginning of a talk.
What they say, it's important to get people to laugh as quickly as possible, but there are ways and ways of doing that, and jokes sometimes can be very tricky.
Exactly, very, very tricky, because some people might be offended with those. So just be careful. I would say that type of joke, the jokes in itself, that they contain beginning, starting, and end as a joke. Yeah, I would never do, because I don't know that audience, and I don't want to shut down half of that audience by offending them, talking about a profession, or something like that. So if you want my advice, and I hope you do, you're watching to this point, avoid those. That doesn't mean you cannot be funny.
You can be funny.
And light. Like Nashlah is very funny with her
I think so too.
stories.
I happen to be funny sometimes.
She's naturally funny.
Sometimes,
yeah, but she's not forcing that.
No.
Okay, it's part of her personality, and she tells the stories, and sometimes the stories are funny.
It's okay.
Because we're at Red Lobster and the lobsters eat themselves.
That's
and people
right.
think it's funny.
It just happened, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. I think you're funny too. Just so you know.
Thank you. Because I do make some effort on that. But, so think about this. Next time you go networking, and please do.
Yes. Get out there and do it.
Don't cocoon yourself in front of a computer.
No, Facebook. If you think that you're doing enough networking because you're on Facebook for 3 hours, not the case. Use it to start the process, but take it offline.
Yes, you need to take
Yes,
them offline
you do need to
somehow.
take it offline.
So do attend your Chamber of Commerce or
maybe an
entrepreneur
event or
organization,
whatever.
an event, and
See people.
exercise the networking.
Yes.
Okay? And even when say, so what do you do? Go to the end result that you provide.
Yes.
Okay, don't try to stay half an
Oh,
hour
I clean
explaining
carpet.
what you do. You say I help people live a happier life in a clean home, something like that.
Something.
But talk about the end result that
Make
you
it
provide.
about them.
Make it simple.
Yes.
You know, always tell what you do, if possible, in a sentence or less.
Yes.
Okay? Think about like the same thing if you would pitch a
TV show.
A TV show, you would have to tell that actually in 2 words because you talk about the concept. So from 2 words to a sentence,
Yes.
that's what you want to tell them what you do, and it's about the end result, that what they get
What they
or
get.
become by working with you.
What
It's
they-
extremely important to do that.
What they get.
Don't tell me to stop.
What they get or who they become from working with you. This has to be very clear when you're talking to them.
Exactly. And respect your mother. Don't do this.
I had.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. This is dangerous territory.
Very thin line here.
Very
Okay,
thin line.
so just because we did stop, let's summarize.
Summarize.
So first of all, network.
Network.
Second of all, use movements.
Use movement
You know, to get
towards
their
what's
attention.
important.
Towards exactly. It's even if you do like this, and you're
Did
going
you
to
know?
Yes. That would be perfect, right? Use narrative, so
Narrative?
use stories.
Wired for stories.
Yes.
Remember that.
Yes, and if you can even get an outside fact, like animals, what's
Yes,
going on in the
something,
market.
If you can, something that's not even in some cases that's not even related to your business. Something that will get them thinking about you.
But that you can tie to
It has
what
to
you
make
do.
sense.
It has to
You
make
have
sense.
to tie it back.
And avoid jokes.
Avoid jokes and be consistent.
And that's a good point.
Be consistent.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep
that
going,
will
keep doing.
bring you business. 2 times is not keep going.
No, 2 times.
Yes.
Kidding me?
I think that's it.
I think so too.
Okay, so I hope to see you next time. And don't forget, if you like what you see here, share with your friends. Give us thumbs up.
Yes, we love it when you do that.
Yes, share everywhere.
Share,
That's
spread
very
the word.
important to us.
Post it on Facebook. It means a lot to us. It really
Yeah,
does.
we may even get more excited.
Yeah, because we don't have enough excitement.
Yeah, so go tell your friends about
That's
our
right.
show.
And come back because you got to be consistent.
Yes, see you next time.
See ya. Nossa senhora.